Hello and welcome to the premiere edition of Talkin Smac. I am your host, Frank Walsh, and we are here to bring you a monthly show that will show you the inner workings of the Smac studio, have you get to know the people who run it, have you learn some of the techniques and some of the ways that they produce the shows that they make around here in Smac, and basically to inform, enlighten, and entertain. And what better way to start off the show than to have the executive director of Smac Studios here with us today, and that would be Mr. Steve Innes. So Steve, welcome and thank you for allowing me to drive this engine that you and your staff so proudly engineer.
No problem at all. Thank you for hosting. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve. So why don't you tell us about your role here at the studio and what brought you here and some of the things that go on here, you know, where the studio was when you got here, where it is now, and some of the vision that you have for the future.
Sure. Well, as executive director, I have the responsibility of the day-to-day operations of the studio. That ranges from scheduling the staff and the training, putting together promotional items, trying to let the people know exactly what happens here at the studio, and one of them is doing a show like this. Talking a little bit about where we were, where we came from. You know, Stoughton Media Access Corporation was formed in November of 2009.
Wow.
So basically the selectmen created a nonprofit organization and created a 5-board member board of directors. And they oversee those are the 5 board members that I report to. And I was hired in February of 2010.
So you were the first hire.
I was the first executive
Good
director.
for you.
Yes. So from there, basically, the vision, we didn't have a studio at that point. So one of the missions when I first came on board was to try to find a location to either build a studio or refurbish one. So in the interim, we had a channel and it was being run out of the town hall. That was the only location that we had a live feed. So our playback system was put up there. And in order to tape some of the shows that were running at that time, we were leasing space over at Easton. So we were, using the studio that they had, their equipment, and keeping the few shows that we had at that point. And the search went on to try to find a location. It did take some time to find exactly the right fit. We being myself and the board of directors, visited several different locations in the town of Stoughton to find the right fit. And finally we found where we are now, 421 Page Street.
Wow.
So, and it was a lot of work. When we came here, it was an open, it was wide open. It was, there was nothing in here. So we had the task of talking to an architect and drawing a layout, and I did a lot of research. I've been doing TV production for 15 years, so I had a little background on how to put TV facilities together. So with the work of the board of directors, the architect, we did a couple layouts and tried to figure out what the best fit was. And during that, we had to hire construction people, and it was.
So you built it from the ground up.
From the ground up, exactly.
And I tell you, from doing a couple of shows here myself, I can tell you that this is a beautiful studio. And you have a tremendous crew here. You have great equipment. And after you had come on board, how did you decide what you needed and some of the people who you needed to bring in here?
Well, what we ended up doing is trying to find a vision and find out exactly what it needed. So first of all, what any public access corporation, and in the state there's several, almost every town has one, or some towns have a couple. But basically there's a structure where some studios only have an executive director, and don't have any staff, or just one person, two people, depending on the size of the community.
Right. Now,
and
do
how
those
involved.
places just focus on more town stuff, where they just do town and meetings and things associated with the town?
Some towns have 3 channels, so a public, an educational, and a government access.
Okay.
So many towns do both. They do the government stuff, the government meetings, selectmen, town
Right,
meeting
right.
stuff, such as we do as well. So the structure, trying to make everything together is, and with any public access studio, you need the town to help out. The staff trains the people how to do it, and Dave later on will talk about the training structure that we have and what that takes. But basically, you have to find a core people. So that was one of the missions that I
Right.
was, is making the membership. So we're a nonprofit. It's a membership-based organization. So anybody that lives in the town of Stoughton can become a member free of charge. And what that means is they come in here, they can take the training classes, learn TV production, put their own show on like we're doing here, either in the studio, in the field, and editing. So there's a lot of stuff. So at that point, when we started to grow and our memberships increased and more people came to the studio, we needed to add staff. So right now we're 2.5 staff. So myself and Mike are the full-timer, and Dave works part-time. So.
And folks, you're going to meet those people today, and you're going to learn about some of the things that they do and tell you about how they actually make this show and other shows that you will see going down in the future. So where do you see the studio going? What vision do you have? Because you've done a tremendous job putting the shows together, and you have a tremendous staff of people here. What kind of vision do you have for the next, year, 2 years, 3 years?
Down the road, continuing our promotional and getting the word out. There's still a lot of people that don't know about Stoughton Media Access. And so getting them involved by having open houses, we've had several of those.
Yeah.
We had a booth up at Kids Day the other day,
Right.
and a lot of people getting involved. So is encouraging people to become active producers, get their ideas, their visions. Within the studio itself, we're in Studio A. We also have a Studio B
Right.
that we're going to be outfitting so that it's usable. So my whole mission when I first started is to try to have this place open as much as possible and be lively. Have the studio used every day, multiple times during the day. And even today, this is the 3rd show today that's been taped in here.
Wow.
So it's getting there, and we've actually started opening up on Saturdays, every other Saturday. So as we get more people involved and more content, the more the studio is going to grow and the more people are going to get here. So 3 edit bays. We're always upgrading the software. So trying to grow and flourish and get more activity.
And folks, you are going to learn as we go along some of the ways in which you can participate in this Smac studio here, and how you can produce some shows. And as we go forward, we hopefully will enlighten and inform you and stimulate you so that you'll want to come and be a part of this place. And Steve, you were talking about being lively. Having doing a couple of shows here myself, you have a lively crew here.
We sure
do. And as you'll see, folks, from some of the promotional and some of the videos that you'll see, you guys have a lot of fun here.
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can speak from this side of the desk where I come in here, always welcome, always greeted. You guys go out of your way to fulfill your mission, which is to make it accessible to everybody. We are not experts when we come in here to do these shows, but you guys, you make us feel important. You make us feel welcome.
I'm glad to hear.
And to this date, in the involvement that I've had in the show, your mission is succeeding.
Great.
And I cannot speak highly enough about you and your leadership and the folks who you have here, allowing me to have the opportunities that I do have here. Excellent. And I hope that what we can do on the show is to have you folks catch some of this enthusiasm, catch some of this excitement, and come in here and see yourself on television and feel the pride and the satisfaction that I'm sure I can speak for many of the directors and producers here at the show feel when they come in here, because it is a tremendous place. They have a tremendous staff, and I'm sure you will be extremely welcome. And The only thing I think that you would say with the only thing that limits someone is their imagination.
Exactly.
When
right.
they come in here. Sure. So someone can come in here, have an idea, and pretty much do what they want within reason.
Exactly. And that's why we have, I call it an open door policy.
Great.
I mean, we're open to the public. I encourage people to come down and tour the studio. So if you have any ideas, feel free to give me a call here at the studio. Studio number is 781-341-1708. Come down, talk to myself, Dave, Mike. More than happy to have people down here and continue doing programming. So.
Right. Well, Steve, I could not think of a more suitable guest to have to open the show than to you, and I really want to thank you for coming in today. And this is not the last you're going to see of Steve Innes, and hopefully as we do the show, you can come on and give us regular updates and let us know what's going on around here.
I will definitely do that. Yeah, as we talked before the show, we
Yep.
have some ideas for talking about the government access.
Correct.
Behind the scenes up there,
Right.
what happens, educational access. So yeah, there's going to be a lot more to come, and we'll do some updates on a monthly basis.
Well, Steve, thank you very
Excellent.
much for coming in today.
Thanks for
I
having
really
me.
enjoyed it.
Appreciate
And continued with your great work that you do here.
I will. Thanks.
So folks, we will be back in just a minute with another member of the SMAC staff, Mr. Michael Hammond. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. And I am here now with another important member of the SMAC crew, who is the program director. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you the SMAC program director and my friend, Michael Hammond. Michael, welcome aboard.
Thank you. Nice to be on this side of the
Yeah,
room.
you know, for those of you who don't know, Michael and I do a show called Talkin Tunes, and we're usually in reverse roles here. And so Michael, you have a different role here today. You're here to talk about Michael Hammond, the SMAC person, not Michael Hammond, the co-host of Talkin Tunes. So
That's right.
why don't you tell the folks at home your role here and how long you've been here and some of the things that you do. I think the people at home would be happy to know about that.
That sounds fun. I started part-time last November, and there was an opening for a program director, and I was officially hired the first week of January. And I do all kinds of things here. We pretty much work as a team. If there's something that needs to be done,
Yep.
we pretty much jump in and do it. You know, we direct shows, we create show openings and closings, as you'll see.
Such as what you see behind us, folks.
Graphics like that. So it's a fun job because it changes every hour. There's almost not a straight hour where you're doing one thing. It's always changing or doing several things at once. And it's really great. So we pretty much encourage people to come and do their own shows. Like this is your first show of Talkin Smac today.
Correct.
Which just kind of came out of conversations and ideas being tossed around. And
Yep.
sky's the limit really here. You can pretty much do anything you want.
Now, as the program director, what does that actually mean? I think I have an idea of what that means. Why don't you tell the folks at home what a program director does?
Okay. I am responsible for everything that airs on the channel. So we have a schedule. We have set shows that have time slots, and then there are lots of other slots that need to be filled in with programming. So in my downtime, if I ever have any,
I can attest to you folks, he has very little.
I pretty much scour different websites that we have access to for programming that's interesting, or if someone requests a cooking show, I'll look for a cooking show, or if someone is looking for a PSA against bullying, I'll try to find that, and you know, just try to keep things interesting, and we're always open to ideas and suggestions. So.
Now, PSA, public service announcement, and these are some of the things, hopefully, that we can get the folks at home to know about some of these technical terms that we throw around that we think everybody knows. But, you know, hopefully, through the course of the show, we can learn more about the ways in which you put some of this program together, the ways in which you put some of these chroma keys together, the way that you can set up an intro, the way that we have to add the music and the layers, etc. You know, and hopefully, you know, as time goes on, you can come back and share with the audience some of the ways in which you do that kind of stuff.
That would be great, actually.
And it's very interesting, folks, because, you know, when I came up with the concept of here, you know, Mike is always one step ahead of the game. You know, it seems like somebody has an idea, and before they finish the sentence, bang, he's on top of it, already punching his keys, and he's got the concept in his head. And it amazes me how some of the things that you do that I would consider as a novice difficult, and you just make it look so easy. So let me ask you, is it as difficult or is it as easy as it looks? Maybe that's a better way to phrase it. Because you make it look so easy.
I think all you really need to do is eliminate the fear of touching buttons and playing around. Because a lot of what we do, you can't really mess it up. So if you just let someone know that and take that out of the equation, that you can't destroy the project, or, you know.
I remember, let me interrupt for 1 second. I remember when I first came on here and I was in the booth pressing those buttons and learning how to do some of the things that I do. That was one of the first questions I asked, is that if I press a wrong button, am I going to blow the studio up? Am I going to erase the memory board? Am I going to launch missiles out of NASA? And that's exactly what they said. They said, no, you really cannot screw something up. And that made me feel hugely relaxed, because if you think that you can mess something up, and you know, people come in with the concept that television and production is this big, big thing. But once you get past that fear, as you said, it's easy. And I used to come in sometimes and just bang around the buttons to do something really simple. It might have taken me an hour to do something that would take you 30 seconds. But now I could probably do it in a minute. So that's very good advice that you can share with people.
And the other important thing too is, I think you naturally have to enjoy it.
Absolutely.
You know, this is something it feels so easy to me because I love it. I can't get enough of this. I can't get enough information. I can't get enough experience on different, you know, programs, and so
it shows. It shows. I mean, you know, the times that I come in here, you know, you and Steve and Dave, whom you're going to meet in a few minutes, you know, just the enthusiasm and the way that you welcome people in here is just an incredible feeling for someone coming in here. And I've seen new people come in and see how you've relaxed people and taken that stress and fear out of there. Plus, you're a damn nice guy.
Why, thank you. You are too.
Thank you, thank you.
I think Steve and Dave and I work really well as a team because without even discussing it, we're kind of very in tune with each other. So if, say, I'm here in the morning working really, really hard on something, it's almost like Dave knows to step in the next hour and sort of pick up the slack and let me walk away for a little bit. And same with Steve too. You know, he'll jump in and take care of something, and or if Steve's really busy, we'll dive on the phone when it rings. And you know, so it's we definitely look out for each other.
Well, just the fact that we're doing the show the way that we're doing, you know, and you will learn how we do some of the techniques here on the show, is that the three people whom you are going to meet here today are all involved in the direction and production of this show. You may not know that or see that at home, but hopefully as you continue to watch, you'll be able to learn some of the ways in which we produce and direct these shows. So your team concept is very evident in this show today.
Definitely.
Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Because believe it or not, Mikey, we're running out of time. So is there anything else that you'd like to add, or anything else you think the folks at home need to hear? I
would just say, come on down, regardless of how young or how old you are. This place,
why'd you look at me when you said old?
This place is like
cut that.
This would be a dream come true for me. You know, when I was a young kid, this would be my idea of coming to heaven. You know, so I just really encourage people to come down and help out in any way that they're interested in helping out.
Well, if you do come down, Mike is going to be one of the key people with whom you'll deal. So for that reason alone, I think you should come on down here. So, Michael, thank you very much for taking a few minutes out of your busy day to be here today.
My pleasure.
And folks, I know that you are going to be seeing a lot more from Mike, either in person or behind the scenes, because a lot of what you see is his responsibility. So, Michael, thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
Appreciate you coming on.
No problem.
So, folks, we will be back in just a second. Hang in there. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Talkin Smac, and we are here with David Young, and I say that with a smile on my face and a little bit of affection, because without Mr. Young, I probably wouldn't be here, nor would I have the enjoyment and satisfaction of what I have been doing for the last couple of years, producing a couple of TV shows. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce the Access Coordinator here of SMAC, Mr. Dave Young.
Thank you.
David,
Thanks,
welcome
Frank.
aboard. And I say that because when I think of you and I think of your place here and I think of everything that you've done for me, you're kind of like my scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz.
Ah, I
You
prefer
know?
the Cowardly Lion.
You were one of the first ones that I came in here, and you were the one who actually lit that fuse that gave me the inspiration to come here and do what I do here at SMAC. So I haven't had the opportunity to publicly thank you because I'm too busy busting your chops.
I know.
But David,
and I
thank
reciprocate.
you.
But
I
yes.
thank you for being the one who actually lit that spark and gave me
glad.
the inspiration to be here.
I'm glad.
And tell the folks at home what you do here as the Access Coordinator. I know what you do.
yes, I basically I interface with the producers. So part of my position is to train and educate so that anyone can work broadcast picks, Final Cut, and try to make it as simple and as easy to produce a show.
And you do. And those terms that Dave had just dropped, Final Cut, Edit Pro, or whatever you had said,
Broadcast
you at
picks.
home are going to learn more about that. And this is not going to be the last time that you see Mr. Dave Young. And you at home, David, are you're in for a little bit of surprise at the end of the show because, I consider you the kind of the creative fun master, the idea guy
yes.
around here to put the enjoyment and fun and the prankster and the jokester, while at
Yes.
the same time being serious doing the
Yes.
job that you do.
Yes.
So it's obvious that you like what you do.
I enjoy it.
What brought you here?
Who brought me here?
What brought you here? You're not,
Well,
you're not
what-
a historical television guy. You're not a historical techie guy. What lit that fire and made you say, hey, I'm going to go to SMAC today and do what
Well,
I do?
What happened was Alan Mills, who's on the board of directors, asked me if I would help with the creation of SMAC.
Really?
So I said, yeah. So at that point, it was just Steve, the executive director. He was the only one here. And because in many discussions with Steve regarding what public access was, it was, okay, my main purpose at that time was to provide footage. And what better footage than parades, events. So everything that was going on in Stoughton, I filmed because I thought that would be probably the most entertaining and probably create the biggest draw of individuals to the station. So if it wasn't nailed down, I filmed it. Easter Bunny, the Haunted Hayride, everything.
Wow.
And that was just to bring people like yourself to say, hey, wait a minute.
So you actually got by Alan Mills,
Yep.
and then you got by Steve Innes, and then they hired you.
Yes.
I could see one of them having a lapse in judgment, but two of them?
Yeah. Well, that's what happened at the time.
And one thing you'll learn around here, folks, as we go on, if you have thin skin and cannot take a joke or be picked on,
We'll make adjustments for
we'll
that.
make adjustments for that.
Yeah.
But David, it is so evident of how much fun you have here. And
Yes.
I know that one of the things that you do is you're responsible for the internship program here.
Yeah,
Where we
I
actually
work
bring
with
people in.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that.
Well, we have interns that the recent ones we had were from the high school. And part of my job is to, in a sense, be in connection with the high school and the productions that go on up there, like the graduation that just transpired. So we get the cream of the crop from the high school to come down here, and we give them practical work experience as working in public access or an organization such as what we have here, to give them practical experience and try to make it as comforting for them So a lot of it is, you know, we joke with them, we tease them, they tease me. We just make each other happy and welcome while they're learning practical experience and stuff. And oh yeah, and have fun.
Well, I know from the couple of shows that I'm involved when we had the interns, Derek and Anthony.
Yes.
We had them on the show, and they were doing some camera work, and they got involved in some of the little shticks that we did on our shows, as you do. And
Yes.
you're also involved in many other shows, and you know, you basically wear many hats around here. And
Well, my hand is in basically every show, and pretty much everything that's edited and what people do, I'm involved in. And what's great is that Mike, the program director, that, you know, he knows broadcast picks and he knows editing. So that way it's two resources that can be used in order to produce a show or editing, and you have questions, and so that's great.
And I know that Mike had said a little bit earlier that everyone here works together, and from the
Yes, we do.
many times that I've been here, I think that the two of you make a heck of a team and a heck of a pair, and it's almost like you're reading each other's minds, and you're communicating telepathically because you're thinking of something and he's going and do it, or you're going and do it and he's thinking about it.
Yes, we understand what's needed in production, and therefore we can anticipate what's coming up next.
Right.
And you know, we're human, so sometimes we forget what we're doing, and the other one will remember and, you know, solve the problem, because the other one is just like thinking of something else and can't focus on it. And that way, you know, it's like two brains working on the same problem, which helps.
Now, you mentioned anticipated what's going to happen next. Folks at home are going to be in for a little bit of surprise, and I think that they are going to see some of your work and see how people here can have some fun in doing.
It's all about fun.
Folks, watch this. We'll be back in a moment.
Derek, Anthony, today's your last day of your internship here at Stoughton Media Access. So before you head off to college, would you tell me about one of the most interesting things you've learned here?
We learned how to use the control room, how to use the camera, and how to tie a knot.
How to tie a knot?
Yeah, well, we have to go, so thank you for having us, Steve.
Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait, hey! What? Wait a minute. Where's Mike and Dave?
Steve! Help us! Help! Studio A!
Dave!
Help us!
Help!
Are we here alone?
Anybody out there?
Help!
Dave! Help! Help! Man,
This is all your fault.
it's not my fault.
I told you this would happen.
Damn interns. It's not my fault. It's yours.
Whatever.
Yeah. But at least they left us a cookie.
I don't see any cookie. What are you talking about?
There.
You're
Cookie.
hallucinating.
I'm not hallucinating. There's a cookie right there.
Hey, it's mine! I saw it first! It's mine! Mine!
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
So ladies and gentlemen, we really hope that you enjoyed that video. And Dave, I really want to thank you for being a part of the show today. And
It's
I
my
know
pleasure, Frank.
that you will be back. I know that for sure.
There's
And
more to
folks,
come.
For Stephen Innes, Michael Hammond, and Dave Young, thank you very much for tuning into the Premier Show. And when you're out and about in the neighborhood, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell everybody you know about us, because you know, folks, there is nothing wrong with Talkin Smac.